Kakadosh, Boker Or, Bekiim Bahalacha 6, day 31, page 81. Okay, we are going to do the preface now of Netilat Yadayim for eating moistened foods, which is basically the concept of Davar Shatibulo Bemashke. Right, this is a very famous halacha. So let's start. Okay, besides the rule requiring Netilat Yadayim before eating bread, our sages obligated us to wash our hands in the same manner when eating any food that has been moistened with a beverage. Therefore, if someone rinses a fruit or a vegetable in water, and now he wishes to eat it while it's still moist, he must first do netilat yadayim. Meaning, if he's going to dry it, then no. But if it's moist, then yes. Nevertheless, he must not say a beracha, because obviously you don't make a beracha on this, right? You remember that the beracha was only going to be on bread, and you have to eat enough bread. Somebody told me today, there's going to be a difference between a bagel and a bread. There's no difference in bagel and bread. A bagel is also, that's not even 100 grams probably, right? But it doesn't matter, right? The source of this halacha is the Gemara in Psachim 115a. Yeah, Rabbi Elazar said in the name of Rav Oshaya, any food that is dipped into a beverage requires netilat yadayim. And Rashi explained that it's necessary because the drops of the beverages remain on the food. Since one's hands are considered to be tameot before performing netilat yadayim, they will in turn make the beverages tameh as well. So one more time, your hands are tum'ah. Remember they were gozel tum'ah la'yadayim. They're going to come and they're going to touch a liquid on top of a food, so it's going to make it tameh. This is taught in one brief sentence in the Mishnah. The Mishnah Para says the level of tumah on one's hands is called a sheni tumah, a low level that cannot affect any human being or ordinary food, right? That comes in contact with them. But if the hands come in contact with a beverage, however, they can make the beverage tameh. In fact, once a beverage becomes tameh from any source, it's automatically upgraded to a rishon tumah, which is a higher level of the tumah that could in turn make any other food tameh, right, through direct contact. So imagine, right, usually we always go down in tumah. All of a sudden now we went back up. So you went and you put your hands, which was a sheni, it touched the liquid, and now the liquid becomes a rishon. It doesn't become a shlishi. It becomes a rishon, it goes back up, and now it could be mixed up anything else. So after performing netilat yadayim, the hands are no longer tameot, and therefore it doesn't affect the beverage at all. Tosafot explained that according to Rashi, our sages equated the obligation to do netilat yadayim before eating moistened foods to the obligation of netilat yadayim before eating bread. This means that based on the comment by the Maharsha, that the obligation was instituted as a safeguard for protecting truma from becoming tmeah, as it says in the pasuk. You must sanctify yourselves, right? V'yitem kedushim, right? V'yitem, just like the obligation that you had them before eating bread. Therefore, even in these times when there's no kohen that could eat truma anyway, we're still obligated to perform netilat yadayim before eating, right, the moistened foods. The Tosafot disagreed with Rashi on this point. We're on page 82. Right? They explained that the mitzvah of netilat yadayim for eating moistened foods is a technical measure to avoid causing the drops of the beverage to become tameh and then ingesting them. Right? Then you're going to eat it. This applied only in the times when the halachot of tumah v'tara were observed. Nowadays, there's no tumah v'tara, so therefore there's no reason to avoid ingesting beverages that are tameh. Therefore, Tosfot concluded that this mitzvah, right, does not apply in our times. Anyone who wishes to perform netilat yadayim when eating moistened foods may do so, but he must say the bracha, right, over it, since the mitzvah is not applicable in these times. So he says this, right, is the explanation of the Tosafot according to the Rishon, according to the Drisha and the Matei Yehuda. However, the Tosafot's opinion is that one must perform netilat yadayim, but one must not say beracha. If some, meaning basically there's going to be a machloket, what does that mean? That you don't have to do it at all, or you have to do it but without a beracha? If someone would say beracha netilat yadayim when washing the hands for eating moistened, it would be a beracha levatala according to Tosafot. The Maram in Rotenburg ruled, what? Which one? We don't do a beracha. Shalom. Okay, very good, exactly. Without a bracha. So he says the Maram Rotavu ruled as well that in our times there's no obligation at all to perform netilat yadayim when eating moistened brands, meaning that he was saying nowadays you don't have to do it at all. Right? That's why on Pesach it's a whole question. Meaning, why is it that you do it on Pesach? So they ask, but if it's normally done, so then what are you going to ask? They're going to ask, why are you washing your hands? So you wash your hands every single day, right? You're going to come, you're going to take an apple, you rinse the apple, you come, you take the apple, you have to do netilat yadayim. If you have to do that anyway, well, what's the question on Pesach? There's no question. They're going to come and they're going to start saying, why do you have to do netilat yadayim? Why do you have to do this? Right? The Levush taught that some poskim ruled that one must wash the hands for food, to eat food moistened with a beverage inside the rachav and netilat yadayim. Since our sages instituted this rule to protect the sanctity of truma, and it's equal as netilat yadayim for bread. So it means the Levush says, even with the bracha. Other poskim rule that although one must wash hands, you don't make the bracha. Okay? But he said it's only in a state of cleanliness, right? And not to protect the sanctity of truma. In practice, so what happens? The majority of the Rishonim agree that one should do the mitzvah when eating moistened food in these times as well. In fact, the majority of the Rishonim, including the Rashi, Rambam, Rabbeinu Asher, the Rosh, rule that one must say that one must recite the blessing of a netilat yadayim as well. Meaning they're saying that you even have to make a bracha. And this is likewise the ruling of a Gaon Vilna. Maran and the Bet Shulchan Aruch, right? He ruled that one should perform the mitzvah, but don't make a bracha. because again, in difference to the Rishonim who ruled not to recite it, he comes and he says. The Ben Ish Chai also wrote that our sages instituted the mitzvah performed without making a bracha, but the Rishon Tzion refuted this, demonstrating that the rule of Shulchan Aruch is a compromise of the various opinions of the Rishonim. Meaning, the Ben Ish Chai understood that they say that they should do it, right? They wrote that our sages instituted the mitzvah to be performed without, meaning that the way the Ben Ish Chai was learning Maran, right, is that really Maran paskind that really behemet that it was instituted that way. Meaning it was instituted. You have to do it at the time without a bracha. That's the way he learned. Says the Rishon Tzion, it's incorrect. Maran learned really behemet that according to the Rambam and you have to do it and you have to do with a bracha. But Maran made a compromise with the Rishonim and he said, you know what? I'm going to hold that you have to do it, but just without a bracha. Everyone understood the difference. It's a very subtle difference how the Ben Ish Chai learned and how the Rishon Tzion learned. Right?
And everybody said that.
Yeah, with the beracha. 100%. What about nowadays? So observing this mitzvah in our times. The Divrei Chamudot commented that multiple people nowadays do not observe the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim before eating moistened foods. They follow the opinion of the Tosafot, that it does not apply in our times. And this is a sound basis for the leniency. This is likewise the testimony of the Sever Shevach Pesach, the Shiurei Knesset Gdolah, right? He cited that Divrei Chamudot commented, and in his locale, everyone observes this mitzvah. That Rav Chida wrote a criticism of those who dip cake in coffee and eat it without performing Netilat Yadayim, stating that they're ignoring halachic ruling of most of the Rishonim, including the Shulchan Aruch. That Rishon Tzion wrote as well, that it is a common error of many people to ignore this obligation, and he said, relying upon the Tosafot, right, which again, at the end of the day, it's ignoring the opinion of the majority of the Rishonim. Citing the Rav Chida, he commented that anyone who ignores the ruling of Shulchan Aruch in this matter deserves to be chastised for having committed such a sin. May Hashem forgive him. The response, Matei Yosef, brought down in Kavachim Sofer, also brought down, and he said that those who do not perform Netilat Yadayim when eating moistened foods are among those who belittle the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim. That means they're being mevazeh the mitzvah, and they deserve excommunication, nidui, and in the end will be uprooted from the world. Look what Mamash said. One second, doctor. So he says, therefore, anyone who possesses a measure of fear of heaven will make sure to observe the mitzvah and reject the mistaken practice of ignoring it. So the Rishon Tzion comes and he's commented that the Matei Yosef overstepped his bounds with a criticism. He argued that we cannot equate someone who eats moistened foods without first washing hands to someone who eats bread without washing hands, since there are Rishonim who do rule leniently. Meaning, what he says is, you can't come and start being medamel, you can't be makish, if at the end of the day there are Rishonim that say that you don't have to do it. The case of Netilat Yadayim, nobody says you're allowed not to do it nowadays. So if somebody's not going to do it, yeah, nidui, everything that you want. To do with this, there are Rishonim that hold that you don't need to do it. So you're right, the majority of Rishonim hold that you need to do it. But still, the fact that there are some Rishonim that hold that you don't need to do it, you're not going to come and start saying that the guy is chayav nidui. You have to excommunicate him. You have to start chastising him. You understand? So he says his criticism might be appropriate according to Rashid, Rambam, Rabbeinu Osher. However, it's quite clear that in any case it's forbidden to ignore the obligation of performing Netilat Yadayim. So what about the reward for fulfilling this mitzvah? So the reward of the punishment for failing the mitzvah, right, is so awesome. Then the reward for observing such a mitzvah is as many times as great. Certainly, all the blessings promised for the fulfilling mitzvah Netilat Yadayim for eating bread should be the same thing for this then. Right, the Tashbats, he comes and he says that anyone who's careful to perform the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim before eating foods, dips, and beverage will be blessed with everything good. Wow. They will have all good.